Yeah, sue me. That was just a little baby boy.
Okay, so he says, yeah, sue me. His mother was, I believe, in the process of suing him because he said on My Name Is, which is his first song, he said, uh, what was the line? Made a record about doing drugs and name it after her, right? So he's saying, like, my mom's a drug addict. And his mom, yikes, dude. If you are new to Eminem fandom or only a casual listener, although I think this is just in the pop culture consciousness, Eminem, Marshall, he has some, he has daddy issues too, but he has some mommy issues. So here we go. Kill You is the name of the first song that we're listening to. He's talking about his mom here.
Tell me my daddy was an evil man. She used to tell me he hated me. Then I got a little bit older
And I realized she was the crazy one. There was nothing I could do or say to try to change it, cause that's just the way she was. Okay, so yeah, that's some of the mommy issues right there. Little fun fact is that this song, the da-na-na-na, da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na, it's from a French jazz musician. The story goes that Dr. Dre and Eminem were talking on the phone, and Dr. Dre always has music playing in the background. And during that conversation, the French song was playing in the background, and Eminem thought to himself, I would murder that shit if you put it like to a rap beat. And they did. I think like a few months after the release of this album, that French musician actually sued him for, I don't know, I guess like copyright. I don't know how it works. I think they ended up settling. It's funny, if you look in Eminem's Wikipedia page, you could find there's a separate page called Legal Issues, and it's about all the crazy stuff he did in the early aughts, some of which I'll mention during the listening to this album because it'll become relevant. But one of them is just that he was sued by this French guy who probably just wanted some money for having a sample of his song used, but also probably wasn't thrilled with the content of the song. The song is called Kill You, and
said I can't rap about
it's pretty vulgar.
They say I can't rap about coke no more. Slut, you think I won't choke no whore till the vocal cords don't work in the throat no more?
Yeah, so that's pretty crazy. He said, I can't rap about being broke no more. And that's true because the first album made him a millionaire, right? So that's one thing he can't sing about, right? But luckily for us, his problems didn't end there, so he had a lot to write about. I think he said that in an interview one time. He said, so, I hope life doesn't get too good or I'll have nothing to write music about. And yeah, he said, slut, you think I won't choke no whore till the vocal cords don't work in her throat no more? He was actually barred or almost barred from entering Canada for that exact line. The Canadian government, they are not as keen on freedom of speech as the United States is. So they were going to try to say that was hate speech, and then he couldn't enter, the nation of Canada. And that ended up not happening, but that was a controversy at the time.
These motherfuckers are thinking I'm playing, thinking I'm saying this shit because I'm thinking it just to be saying it. Put your hands down, bitch. I ain't gonna shoot you. I'm gonna pull you to this bullet
and put it through you. Yeah, so I remember this is the first Eminem song I've ever heard, by the way. I was 10 years old, and I was walking around the neighborhood, and there was a neighbor. She was like 13 or 14 years old, and she was like a cool girl. I mean, not that cool. She was hanging out with a 10-year-old boy. Nothing happened. But she was like, hey, have you heard of Eminem? And I said, no. And then she put headphones on my 10-year-old ears and had me listen to this song, which is just crazy. All right. Okay, so he's R-wording his own mom in this song, which is, some would say, a little too much. I want to say, too, the line that he said earlier, where he says, put your hands down. I'm not going to shoot you. I'm going to pull you through to this bullet and put it through you. I remember my mom was horrified that I liked this kind of music. And I guess she told herself that I was too innocent to understand or enjoy the content, the lyrical content, and that I just liked the beats. And I remember she and I had this conversation, and she said, well, what is it that you like about this music? Is it the beat? It's just the beat, right? And I was like, well, I think he's funny too. And she says, how? And then I said, well, you know, for example, he says, calm down. I'm not going to shoot you. I'm going to pull you through to this bullet and put it through you. And just hearing your 10-year-old son take glee in that line is probably a little much. But to me, it's less disturbing and more like kind of Bugs Bunny cartoonish, like, you know, Wile E. Coyote or whatever, but she didn't see it that way.
Chainsaw, left his brains off, tangling from his neck while his head barely hangs on. Blood, gut, gun, cuts, knives, lies, wives, nuns, sluts. Bitch, I'ma kill you. You don't wanna fuck with me.
And I should say my father bought me the edited version of the CD behind my mother's back. She didn't want me to have any version. And he sort of compromised and gave me the edited version. In the edited version of this, on the back of the CD, instead of it saying kill you, it says star, star, star you. And for the longest time, I thought the title was fuck you for that reason. Cause shady will effing kill you. Like a murder weapon, I'ma conceal you in a closet with mildew, sheets, films, and film you. Fuck with me. I've been through hell. This is so cartoonish. I know it's supposed to be like spooky, but the fact that, you know, in the first verse, he's literally R-wording. He's literally R-wording his own mother. And then the second verse, he goes, also, I'm trying to develop a picture of the devil. Like, ooh, spooky. Watch out, Middle America. Your son's going to be looking at a picture of Beelzebub, right? But I'm sure it just worked with the rhyme scheme.
I ain't acid rap, but I rap on that.
When he's not acid rap.
Just had a strap on at it.
Whoops, is that a subliminal hint? No. Feminist women love Eminem.
And if you ever give it to him, you give him an impulse to do it again. Then, if he does it again, you probably end up jumping out of something up in the tent. Bitch, I'ma kill you. I ain't done this.
Fake out there. Bloodstain is orange after you wash it 3 or 4 times in the tub, but that's normal, ain't it, Norman?
Serial killer hiding murder material in a cereal box on top of your stereo. Here we go again. We're out of our medicine, out of our minds, and we wanting yours. Let us in, or I'ma kill you. You don't wanna fuck with me.
This chorus is so catchy, and it's in my head all of the time, and I try to keep it inside so I don't look like a crazy person. This line, by the way, I'ma be another rapper dead for popping off the mouth with shit I shouldn't have said. It's a crazy line to come out in 2000. This is, you know, not too long after a lot of famous rappers were killed. Biggie, Tupac, Big L. There's a live version that you could watch where his best friend Proof, he's operating as his hype man, and they look at each other as they both say the line, "I'm gonna be another rapper dead for popping off the mouth with stuff I shouldn't have said," and it's a little creepy, given what happened to Proof a few years later. I'll get to that later because he's also featured on this album. You don't. Possibly one of the most misogynistic rap songs of all time. Of course, it's tongue-in-cheek. He's sort of just giving the middle finger to people on both sides of the aisle that said he wasn't a good influence on American culture. And if it's not clear that it's tongue-in-cheek, it'll become clear at the end of the song. All right, so if anybody has some time to kill, if you go on YouTube and you search Eminem Howard Stern, he's on there for, I think, a full hour, and it's in the aftermath of, I don't even think the Slim Shady LP was out yet. I think he was just promoting the single My Name Is, right? And, you know, at the time he had the blonde hair, and he's definitely like the craziest version of himself. I mean, he's sober in the interview, but you could tell he's like on edge, and Howard Stern obviously didn't have much of an idea of who he was. I think he just thought he was another Vanilla Ice, right? A lot of people didn't know that he was in the underground for years, and even among people who knew, was a great lyricist, you know, battle rapper up there with Cannabis, was on the Bobito show and had a showing as arguably as good as Big L, I would say. but they're everybody like Howard Stern, everyone that's calling in is just making fun of him for being a a white guy that acts black. And actually he references this later in another song as well. At the time, Eminem was like trying to be cool on the Howard Stern show, but it's clear that it rubbed him the wrong way, because he's never gone back to Howard Stern, and Howard Stern has since said that that's one of his biggest regrets, is that he kind of trolled Eminem when he went on his show. All 70,000 pounds of it, which is very large.
Before school or out of school, I don't even believe in breathing. I'm leaving air in your lungs just to hear you keep screaming for me to seep it. Okay, I'm ready to go play. I got the machete from OJ, ready to make everyone's throat say.
Yeah, so I'm listening to this in the year 2000, and again, I'm about 10 years old, and I am not getting most of these references when I'm listening, right? So I have no idea who OJ Simpson is. Of course, this was, I think, 5 years after the trial, so it was still topical. I mean, it's topical now. And I should say that I was listening to the edited version of this when I was in my room with my Walkman listening to the album. My next door neighbor, he had the unedited version. I'll call him Stan. I wonder why I thought of that name. But his parents bought the album, heard public service announcement, right, that we just listened to, and was like, you can't under any circumstances listen to this, but if we caught them in a good mood, they would let us listen to it. So I got to hear the edited version at home, and I would hear Stan's version when I went over and hung out with there. That was cool, dude. A sleepover at Stan's house, because he had HBO, he had Nintendo 64 with way more games than I did. And we could sometimes listen to the Marshall Mathers LP and snacks, dude. Just a great time. If I had a time machine, I'd go back to that. I guess I would stop 9/11 too, but I would do that stuff first. Yeah, so it's the early 2000s. Marshall uses the F slur a lot in this album. And at 10 years old, I knew what the word was. It didn't, if you're Gen Z, this is going to blow your mind perhaps, but that I didn't even clock that as being a bad thing. I'm like, well, yeah, that's what you call somebody you don't like. So, like I said, definitely getting demonetized. And yeah, in the year 2025, Marshall doesn't use that word anymore, but it's prevalent in this album.
Give me your hands and feet. I said, shut up when I'm talking to you.
You hear me? Answer me.
I'ma kill you. You don't wanna fuck with me. Girls need you ain't nothing but a slut to me. Bitch, I'ma kill you.
You ain't got the balls to beef. We're gonna never stop beefing. I'm gonna squash the beef.
You better kill me.
I'ma be another rapper dead for popping off the mouth with stuff I shouldn't have said. I'm bringing the world with me.
Bitches too. You ain't nothing but a girl to me. Bitch, I'ma kill you.
You don't wanna mess with Shady, cause Shady. It's such a great horrorcore song, man. I mean, Eminem didn't invent horrorcore, but I think he perfected it, in my humble opinion. And here's the line at the end. So that's the first in many instances where Eminem says, I'm just playing X, you know I love you, right? So like I said, that song is kind of tongue-in-cheek and cartoonish in its misogyny, right? So at the very end of the song, he says, I'm just playing ladies, you know I love you. And I think, A, because that's just funny to say, but two, I think even though Marshall has always been like, hey, my music's for adults, he knows children are listening. So maybe throw in something that acts like maybe a disclaimer to be like, hey, don't actually do the stuff I'm saying in my music, because some people do confuse art with real life. And hey, we have a perfect example of that coming up in the next song, which is titled Stan.